Just want to make sure that everything is lined up. And let's mute the sound on the laptop because we don't need to hear me twice. That's for sure. So, hello everybody. This is Carla, and welcome back to the studio. And thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursdays are where I pull out my retired stash and I create two projects with it. So, for this Thursday, I am featuring a standalone stamp set that recently retired. It was part of our online exclusives, I think, that came out in March of this year. It's Resourceful Rusty. Really love this stamp set. I mean, I love just the expressions that are on these foxes, and then it's got some really cool greetings in it as well. Again, standalone, there's no dies, there's no punches or anything that go with it. So we're going to jump right on into the projects because one of them we do have some coloring to do. Well, actually, both of them we got coloring to do, but the first one, there's a little bit more involved to it than with the other one. So let me bring in the pieces, and then at the same time, let me also bring up my Word document that has like all the dimensions of all of my pieces really quickly. Um, let's see, that's minimum. Okay, we got that right there. There it is. Okay, so for my card base, I have fresh Freesia. It measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of basic white that measures 5.5 by 3, and then I have a 1/2 inch scrap. So basically it's a 1/2 inch wide, but the length, we are going to trim it down after we stamp our greeting. So I just have like two pieces in the event that, we kind of mess up and we need a little bit more. So these are 1/2 inch strips. And then Berry Burst, these are 1/4 inch strips. Now again, these are going to be trimmed down to size after we stamp our greetings onto the basic white, and then we trim them down. So 1/4 inch, half an inch, and let's kind of get started here. Let's go ahead and fold and burnish our card base. And get my bone folder. Okay, and then we'll set that aside. And then we're going to stamp our images on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. Now, this is a red rubber cling stamp set. So you really don't need the foam mat in order to get good stamped images. Usually you would do this with photopolymer stamps. But I want to have something that's a darker color since my grid paper's white, the cardstock's white. It makes it a little bit easier for me to see where I'm lining up my images. So let me pull out the ones that we're going to use. And we got this one. And then for our greeting, we're going to go with, let's see, Keep Going. And You Can Do It, along with this little um, plaid image right here. And I think that's all we need at the moment. So let me bring in some blocks. Now, I do have the stickers for these. However, I don't have them on here. I'm not going to put them on here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my images and I'm going to have like the base of it be straight with the bottom edge of the block. So as long as I line up this bottom straight, then my images should be straight. Okay, so for him, we're going to have tail go up straight. And then for him, let's see. Okay. Then we have a little plaid image. And then let me get 2 blocks for my greeting. And again, I'm going to kind of line it up the bottom of the greeting to the bottom edge. If I kind of line that up straight, then when I go to stamp, it should be straight. So it is, I am filming this on Wednesday evening, Wednesday the 3rd. So today, the holiday mini catalog went live along with the September online exclusive items. So now I technically can open up that mini catalog and show you what's in it. However, I'm not going to do that. I actually did a pre-order haul live that I did on Saturday, August 23rd, where I showed pretty much everything, not quite everything, but most of everything that's in those 2 publications. So if you want an up close look at that stuff, the video is here on my channel. Actually, it seems like a lot of people were very interested in that video. It's had quite a few views to it. So, yeah. So other demos, I mean, I know that there are others that have done haul videos as well. So if you want to check that out, again, it's right here on the channel. And I did it on Saturday, August 23rd. Okay, and tomorrow will be my Friday Night Live here at 7 p.m. Central. And I am going to be using a bundle called Pet Love. It's one of the new bundles that is in the online exclusives. So that one's going to be like the perfect cards for the animal lovers out there. Okay, so for these images, I'm going to stamp them in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Now, I've mentioned this numerous times before. The Memento Tuxedo Black ink comes in a felt pad. I have taken one of the white craft Stampin' ink pads. When you order this, you get an uninked pad along with a re-inker with the white ink in it. So what I've done is, because it's an uninked foam pad, I just took some of my ink refill of Memento, put it in this pad, and I have found that when I go to stamp, I get a nice sharp black image as if I had done it in the StazOn ink. So yeah, so it just works very well, very well in my opinion. And there's other demonstrators too that have also have done this as well. So I'm going to start with stamping my one fox here down on the bottom. So I'm going to do my bottom and my top one first, and then I'll stamp the one in the middle. Kind of just have these where they look like they're evenly spaced. All right. And then we'll stamp him up here. And then this one, I really like this one. I love the expression on this one. And we'll put him right here in the middle. Okay, I just love his expression. Okay, so let me set that aside. We're going to let that ink dry before we color with our Stampin' Blends. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. I want to bring in, let's see, a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to bring in my, let's see, my fresh Freesia ink and also my Berry Burst. On my card base, I'm going to bring in this plaid image, my fresh Freesia ink. And I'm going to stamp one up in the upper left-hand corner here. And then I'm going to stamp it again down in the lower right. Like so. All right, so we'll set that aside. And then for our greeting pieces, we're going to stamp that in Berry Burst. So again, I did cut a little bit extra. So then that way, in the event, if it's not straight, then at least I got some extra strips here. So here's to getting it stamped even on the first try. So we're going to ink this one greeting up, and then stamp that down. Looks good. Now let's see if we can get this other one straight as well. And we'll try it on the same piece. Not bad. We'll tape that. All right, and then we'll close this up. Set this aside. All right. Then what I want to do is I'm going to bring in my little guillotine paper trimmer. And I'm going to trim these down. So I don't want too much. I want a little bit of some white on either side. Let's see, just a little bit. Hold that down. Okay, so we got that piece. And then let's take care of our other greeting. So you can do it. Okay. And let me set that aside. And then what I want to do is bring in my silicone craft sheet. And then I want to take my tear and tape here. And I'm going to add some on the bottom of each of these. Okay. And then I'm going to take my Berry Burst here. And I'll get my take your pick tool. Get a little bit easier to remove the paper backing. Okay, and then I want some to stick out on the bottom and also on either side. Okay. All right. And then we'll come in and we will trim all I want. There's a little bit of adhesive that is, okay, so that's that one. And let's see, that actually is fine. Just got to trim this side. Just kind of hold that there and trim. So there are our greeting pieces. We're going to pop these up on our card after we get our panel there all colored and adhered to our card base. So in the meantime, I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this, like so. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my scrap paper here, and then let's bring in our stamped images. And then for my blends that I'm going to use on this, I have dark fresh freesia. I have both the light and dark pumpkin pie. Let's see, what else do I have? I have both the light granny apple green and dark old olive. And then I think, oh, nope, we got light basic black. So when I went and created these projects, now the sample image that they had of these, they actually stamped these on watercolor paper and they watercolored them. For time's sake, I decided that I would stamp them on regular basic white, and then I would use my Stampin' Blends to color them in. So to color them in, like I said, when they did it, they had watercolored the whole entire, not this part here in the middle. They left that white, but the rest of them they did in the pumpkin pie. However, I did go and look on Pinterest to kind of see, the coloring that's on a fox. So the foxes have on both their legs and their arms, they have black fur. So on mine, I'm going to color his legs and what would be his front paws or legs. They're going to be in the light basic black. And because these images are kind of small, you're kind of limited like on how much blending, and even like the tops of their ears I saw were black as well. Okay. Like I said, I really love this one. I just love the look on his face. Okay, and then his legs. All right. We got his ears. Let's see, that's all. And let's see. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in my light granny apple green, and I'm going to color these apples. Okay, let me get some down here. And then we got this one where he's got all these apples like shoved in his mouth. Okay. I think there's one little spot I missed with the black right up here. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do the leaves of our apples with the dark old olive. So do the leaves. And then we got two right here. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to take my dark pumpkin pie, and in some of these areas where I want kind of like a darker shading, I'm going to add some right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually let this kind of dry before I blend over it with the light pumpkin pie. All right. And then let's see on him. Just kind of go around here and up a little bit on his tail. Now, one of the things I want to try to avoid doing, I kind of did this on my sample card, and I tried fixing it to the best that I could, but I want to try and not do the very top of his tail. I want that to actually be white. So I accidentally went and colored too much on my sample card, and I tried to fix it by using the color lifter. However, that didn't work so well. It not only bled outside of the stamped line with the orange, however, it also bled the black ink as well. So let's not get crazy when we go to color those parts. Now what I'm going to do in the meantime while that dries a little bit, I'm going to bring in the dark fresh Freesia, and I am going to add some ground. Just going to fill in there a little bit, and then over here. Right. And then let's bring in our light pumpkin pie, and we'll do top of his head here. And the rest of his body. And then here, I'm going to leave that top part white. Okay, good there. And okay. And then we got our guy right here. Okay. Much better by leaving the tips of his tail white. Okay. So then let's bring in our card base. And we're going to add, let's see, we're going to bring in our liquid glue. This is our Tombow multi-purpose glue that I just put in these fine tip glue bottles that I bought off of Amazon. I do have a link for it in the description. It wasn't a bad price. I got 10 of these in a package. The thing is, with the Tombow multi-purpose glue, it does have a latex in it. So with this glue, you don't need a whole lot for your card pieces to stick together. So, all right, so I'm going to place this down, and I'm going to have more space on the right side than on the left. Okay, just got to make sure that that's straight. Okay, and then press it down. Okay, and I think we're pretty good on the edging of it so it doesn't overlap too much. But I can bring this in and just bring it down a little bit, but my bottom edge of my card base down, and I can trim that excess white off of there. And the same thing over on this side. Okay, so that's not too bad. That's good. Okay, so let me close this up. And then I'm going to take my greeting pieces here. Now on the cards that I'm doing in this video, I'm not adding any Wink of Stella, and I'm not adding any bling to it either. So I want to take this and kind of put it straight, and hopefully I can get these put down straight. Okay. So the keep going is down, and then you can do it. We'll put that right down here like so. Okay, so there is our first card. So again, this is a case off of the card that they had online. Again, this was an online exclusive stamp set. So there were sample images, sample cards that they had made. I just changed this up a little bit. They did it as a watercolor on watercolor paper, and I just did it on basic white cardstock using blends. So there is our first card. So now let me clean these stamps. So then that way I have some clean empty blocks to put my other images on. So today, like I said, like I mentioned, the holiday mini and the September online exclusives did go live. I also did my monthly newsletter. I sent that out earlier today. Um, I do have on there now, it was something that I was going to do back in June. However, I really didn't get much notice of it, so there wasn't really anybody that had reached out that wanted to attend. So one of the items or suites actually that's in the that holiday mini catalog is called Peaceful Season. Peaceful Season. And in there, I mean, there's really just like one greeting in there that kind of references kind of like Christmas, and that's peace on earth. This particular suite also has doves in it as far as dies go, and some really pretty designer series paper. Again, not much of it is really Christmas themed, so it's got a lot of blue in it. So I did create project kits, like I said, back in June, but I didn't actually do the in-person class. So I did put that out there on my newsletter that that will happen on Saturday, September 27th at 11:30 a.m. So if you are local to me and you would like to attend, if you're not on my what do you call it, on my newsletter list, and if you would like to, the link for that is in the description of the video. Um, just click on that. You'll add your name and your email. And then what I'll do is I'll send the newsletter out to you. There's a lot of stuff in there. So my video schedule for what I'll be doing. Hold on, I'm just trying to get this kind of like lined up on here how I want it. Um, I have my video schedule of everything that I'm going to be doing for my Throwback Thursdays, my monthly Christmas card inspiration that happened on the 1st. Also, there is news like Stampin' Up news and new kits that came out. World Card Making Day. Stampin' Up is doing a virtual event. It's a free event for everybody. And yeah, so there is a link that will take you to that in on the website. Uh, Again, the registration for that is free. They are going to be using a kit, and that kit is now new in the kits collection. So there's a picture and description of that in my newsletter as well. So if you would like to receive my monthly newsletter, that link is in the description. Now, when I do my newsletters, I typically only do one a month near the very beginning. However, there are times that Stampin' Up! Will advertise some kind of promotion or sale, maybe in the middle of the month. So in that case, that's when I would send another one out. Other than that, I'm not one that will bombard you with emails. I don't send them out like every day. I don't send them out every week. So if you would like to receive that and kind of know what's going on, Again, that link is in the description as well. All right, so for my second card, I have for my card base a piece of Smoky Slate that measures 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4.25. Let me see this. This looks like it's a little lopsided. I do have a piece of real red that measures 5.25 by 1.75. I have a piece of basic black. So this measures, do I have it actually at 3.5? Well, this is like a longer scrap piece, so it's 1.25 inches wide. I do have it cut to like 5.5. However, I am going to trim this side down to 3.5. Ahead of time, I had stamped the greeting, "Don't give up, you've got this," with Versamark ink, and then I heat embossed it using the white embossing powder. See, that's just a little bit shiny. I see that it's kind of like focusing in and out. All right, so on my real red piece here, I'm going to actually want to take this, I'm going to fold and burnish my card base really quick. And let me get that bone folder. And we'll put that right there. Okay, and then on this piece, I'm going to take the image that has the apples and the cherry cobbler ink. And I'm going to randomly stamp these apples on my real red. Now, a good part of this is going to be covered. So add to kind of fill it in. Okay. Do the corners. All right, so that's good. Let's put that aside. We definitely need to clean that. There's red ink all over that. Okay, so let's set that aside. Then on my circle here, I'll put that right there so I can see that. This is punched out using, well, the scrap of basic white. This was punched out using the 2 3/8 inch circle punch. It is still available. I don't know if it's in the catalog or if it's out there in with the online exclusives, but it is still available. All right, so I'm going to bring in my Memento Tuxedo Black ink again. Move that out of the way. And this one I have, it's my fox that looks like he's chucking apples. So we're going to stamp him right here in the middle. Now the thing is, we are not going to color him as a fox. We're going to kind of color him in like he's a raccoon. However, we're not going to give him kind of like that bandana that's over his eyes. We're just going to kind of color the tail where he looks like a raccoon. Okay, so while that dries a little bit, I'm going to take my greeting here. And so I mentioned that we're going to trim this down to be, let's see, I'm going to actually trim at an angle on the right side of my greeting. So I'm going to trim that at an angle. And then I want to measure this at, what did I say, 3.5. So 3.5 is going to be right there. And I'll trim that. Okay. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this piece here. And we do have the black dimensionals if you want to use those. We'll use these for now. Okay, so I'm going to take, let's see, my real red piece here. Bring in my seal. And we're going to adhere this flat onto our card base. Now, this is also a case off of one of the samples that they had when this came out. Changing it up a little bit because this piece here, they actually had this popped up along with that basic black piece. Let me make sure this is straight. And also that circle. So it was a little bit much, in my opinion, of what was kind of like popped up on this card. So I decided I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to adhere that flat to the card base. All right, and then I'll take my black embossed piece here and we'll remove these. Okay, and then I will place this, let's see, right about here. I want it straight. There we go. We'll set that aside and now we're going to go and color him in. So for this, the apples, I'm going to bring in my light and dark real red. And then for him, we're going to use the light and dark smoky slate. All right, so I'm going to take my dark and we're going to add a little bit of shadow here on his leg. And then on the tail, we're going to add some squiggles, kind of give him these lines on his tail. And we'll do another one down here. Okay. All right, so we're going to let me add a little bit more right there. And a little bit there. Okay. And then, let's see, what do we want next? We're going to take our light real red and we're going to color in these apples. I forgot to grab my dark old olive for the leaves. Grab that in a moment. Okay. And let's get that. And we'll color in these leaves. Because the spaces where I'm coloring in is so small, I'm using the very tip of my brush end and I'm just going over it with a very light touch. Okay, so now the dark real red, I'm going to add some shadow on the what do you call it, the apples. But first I am going to color with my light smoky slate. I'm going to color him in. And on his paw right there. And again, raccoons kind of have that mask around their eyes, but we're not going to add that. Okay, so that looks good. And then last but not least, we're going to take our dark real red and we're just going to add a little bit of shadow here on our apples. All right, so then let's take him and add some dimensionals to the back. And if, like I mentioned about the new catalog, if you are not working with another, actually, what did I do? I messed up. I got too much dimensionals on here. And I need to, actually, I need to put new dimensionals. You'll see why, because part of it's going to hang off of this here. So I don't want dimensionals on the part that's going to touch that black piece. What I was mentioning about with the new catalog coming out, if you would like a paper copy, if you're here in the United States and you are not working with another demonstrator and you would like a paper copy, also in the description is my email address. Just simply send me an email, of course, with your full name and then your mailing address, and I'll be more than happy to get one out to you. Now, again, let me know if you just want the holiday mini or if you want both the annual catalog and that one as well. Just let me know in the email and I'll be more than happy to mail one out to you. All right, so now I put adhesive on the part that's going to touch the black, and then I have my dimensionals in the areas that's going to touch the actual card base. So we're going to take this, make sure that's straight, and we will adhere this like so. So there is our second card. So very simple. I didn't add any embellishments on these. You're more than welcome to if you'd like. And no Wink of Stella either. So there is the second card. So we kind of took our fox and we made him into a raccoon just by our coloring. And then our first one definitely are the foxes. And again, I really love the attitude on this one. I really like that one, but really cute card. Again, case these cards from the sample cards that they had for this stamp set when it came out in the online exclusives. Now, it is retired and it's no longer available, so I do want to put that out there. So if you were able to get this stamp set, hope you'll give these projects a try. If you like the projects I made, plus again, I have lots of video content on this channel. Lots of Throwback Thursdays, and I got monthly Christmas card inspiration. That's what I did just a couple of days ago. I also have my Friday Night Lives, my special videos that I've done on a Saturday where I've had guest stampers. Plus, I've also did my holiday mini and my September online exclusive haul. Uh, so where am I going with this? So lots of video content. If you want some inspiration, all using Stampin' Up product. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I post another pre-recorded video like this one, or when I go live. When I go live, what I do is at the very end, I do a drawing for 3 people to receive one of the cards that I make that night. So that's something that, if you're still present at near the end, and you would like to participate in that, I do have that goes on. And again, this weekend, not this weekend, but tomorrow, I will be using the Pet Love bundle. That is a new bundle that's in the September online exclusives. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to stop by and watch this video. And I will catch you next week with another Throwback Thursday, which, what am I using? Um, I don't remember what I'm using, and I wrote it down just the other day, but yes, it's another retired product. Hold on, let me take a peek. Um, it will be Iconic Iconic Celebrations Suite. So that is going to be my Throwback Thursday for September 11th. So until then, everybody, hope that you'll be able to make it to my live tomorrow night. And everybody, wherever you may be, whether it's cool, it's really warm, or stormy, be safe, be cool, be warm, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.